What's up guys, it's MD Shady, and today we're going to take a look at my top 10 favorite Return of the Jedi pops. So let's check it out. So recently we recorded the podcast that is solely based around Return of the Jedi, so we figured while we're doing some Jedi content, we might as well do a top 10 list because we talked about the pops. The pops are pretty dang cool, so we might as well narrow it down to 10 of the best, at least in my opinion. So starting off with number 10 on the list, I have the Walmart exclusive Max Revo. This is really cool. The scan on this, or like the molding, is way better than that original specialty series one that we've seen. It's a little bit more defined with the wrinkles and the different things going on. And you also get his instrument, which is like the keys, and he's actually like pressing them, which is really awesome. And his instrument, the way that he sits inside of it, it actually acts as the base as well, though it still does have that Star Wars base with the logo on it that we have been seeing with Star Wars pops for quite some time now. So yeah, overall this one is just way better than the original. And when you think of Return of the Jedi, one character that a lot of people do think about is Max Rebo. Just such an interesting, weird, obscure character, so I knew I had to add him to the list, but only at number 10. Now moving on to number 9 on the list, I have the Unmasked Darth Vader. This pop is wicked. This is obviously from the scene at the end of the movie where basically Darth Vader helps Luke kill Darth Sidious, or at least that's what we thought, or Emperor Palpatine. And basically he's hurt and he's dying, and he takes off his mask because he wants to see Luke with his own eyes for one time before he passes away. So this is a super important moment in all of Star Wars, and I think they captured it pretty well with this pop. I mean, it's a lot better than that original Unmasked Vader that has like the lightsaber, which is just not accurate. Here, he's laying down, he's got the mask off, the scars look really good on his face, he's very pale. This is just great. You kind of have like the darkness around his eyes, and it's very screen accurate when it comes to a Funko Pop for getting those details down from the movie itself. The only gripe I have with this pop is that it's in a sideways box. The sideways boxes are just terrible for displaying. You don't want to have them sideways with your collection, so you kind of have to either do that or display them on their own with other sideways boxes, which is actually what I do, but I really hate doing that. So that's really the only gripe I have with this pop. Other than that, this thing is really dang cool. The next pop I have on this list at number 8 is Princess Leia with the speeder bike. There's a couple reasons this is awesome. I mean, you get that grassy base that's like the Endor foliage. You get the speeder, which is on like the clear stands, which is cool. And then you get Leia with the Endor outfit riding the speeder. But there's also a chase version of this pop, and it's Luke Skywalker on the bike instead. So together, these two pops make one killer common and chase. I mean, how cool is that? You can get both of them, you can display them out of box, which would look really, really awesome. And I actually did see these in stores at our local EB Games at the time, and I just didn't have the money at the time to buy the chase, so I missed out on the chase, and I really did want it back then. Now, I don't really care too much for owning it, but I do think that these are some killer pops and just such a smart idea for a common and a chase. Now moving on to number 7 is actually one of the newest pops that we've seen, and that is Darth Vader versus Luke Skywalker. This is pretty killer. This is really cool. You get the background and you have Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. There's nothing really more iconic than that when it comes to Star Wars. And I mean, they're just doing their thing. They're having that lightsaber duel, which was such an awesome saber duel. The only thing that this is missing is the Emperor Palpatine in the background, because that would be screen accurate, but we have heard that the Emperor Palpatine that's kind of sitting in the chair, you can actually put in between them, like in the background, and it will fit there. So if you did want to do that, that's something you can do. But I think it is good enough just like this. I mean, it looks really good. You got that window there, which looks awesome. You kind of have like the staircase, which looks really cool as well. And then you just have two pretty cool versions of Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. This is so iconic, and that's why it had to be on this list, coming in at number 7. Coming in at number 6 on this list, I have the, I guess it must be a Pop Rides, of Chewbacca with the AT-ST. This is so cool. One of my favorite scenes in Return of the Jedi is when the AT-ST kind of slowly walks up to Han and Leia, and then they're like kind of thinking, uh-oh. And I remember the first time I ever watched it thinking like, oh no. And then the top opens up and Chewie pops out. Just so cool. And this pop really does a great job of this. It's cool for a pop ride because sometimes with older style pop rides, you just have like the character just kind of sitting in the roof of the car, and that sometimes doesn't look very great. But with this, they basically do that, but it works out perfectly because the hatch to get in is at the top of the AT-ST, and that's exactly what you see in the movie. You see Chewie kind of just with his top torso hanging out and his head. And the mold of this Chewbacca is pretty good as well. I love how he has the hair kind of to the side rather than slicked right back, because that is accurate to Return of the Jedi, one of my favorite versions of Chewbacca. I love the messy hair. I do wish it could have been a little bit more messy, because it is very messy, especially in this scene. He kind of takes his head out and his hair is kind of just going everywhere. So if it was a little bit more messy, I think that this would have been a really excellent pop, but the way it is here is still great. The AT-ST looks really, really good. There's some detail there with it. And the base itself, again, you got like the dirt and the leaves and the grass from the ecosystem of Endor. Coming in at number 5 on my list, I have the Amazon exclusive glow-in-the-dark 3-pack with Anakin Skywalker, Yoda, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is so cool. I mean, what a moment in Star Wars when Luke kind of looks over after they're celebrating and he sees his father and 2 of his mentors there in their ghost form now that they're all passed away and gone to wherever, I guess, Jedis go to. It's cool that they did this version of Anakin rather than, let's say, the original movie where it was just like an older guy playing Anakin, and I guess that's what he would have looked like if he would have never turned to Darth Vader. And then the Yoda, that's not too bad, and then Obi-Wan, that's not bad at all either. But all 3 of them like this with the background that you got and them being glow in the dark is just a perfect thing. It makes so much sense, and this is a really great 3-pack. Coming in at number 4 on the list, I have the Target exclusive glow-in-the-dark Darth Vader. This thing is wicked. It is Darth Vader getting electrocuted by Emperor Palpatine. You got the electric force kind of going around his chest, and he's kind of in a pose where it's hurting him, just like you see in the movie. And then the face is really cool because it's glow in the dark, and when it is glowing you can kind of see the skull through there, like just like you see in the movie when he's getting electrocuted, and it kind of flashes like x-ray vision that you have on it because of all the electrocution that's going through his body. So this is a really cool pop. I can't remember if I own this one, or I believe there's like a common one that is not glow in the dark, but either way they're both really, really cool. I would suggest getting the glow in the dark one though, because the glow on it is actually pretty sweet. Just a really cool pop to kind of represent that of Darth Vader kind of just getting almost right down to right before he passes away. Number 3 on my list is another 3-pack, and that is the Rancor with Luke Skywalker and Ula. This is really cool. This is the first ever Rancor pop that we've seen. Overall, the Rancor looks pretty cool. It kind of does look a little similar to like the Rancor that you see with like Lego kits, but I think that that's fine, especially at the time with the molding that they had. The Luke Skywalker is pretty basic, but I do love how they gave him that bone in his hand. And then Ula is also in here, and I don't think that Ula has a standalone pop, so if you do want an Ula pop, I think you have to get it out of this 3-pack. And I mean, this makes sense. Luke and Ula both go down at one point in the movie to the Rancor. Of course, you know how it happens. Luke survives. Ula, maybe not so much. Coming in at number 2 on my list is yet again another 3-pack, and that is the Walmart exclusive 3-pack of the Ewoks, Teebo, Chief Chirpa, and Logray. And this is so cool. These arguably have the most amount of detail out of all of maybe Star Wars pops in general. The Ewoks just get so much attention to their costume and their fur. They look great. I wish they were flocked because it's an Ewok. They're like a cute little teddy bear that's vicious and sometimes very angry, but these look great. I love any Logray figure. I have the OG figure, I have one of the newer figures, and I don't actually own this 3-pack. This is a 3-pack that I would love to obtain one day because these pops are just gorgeous. I love the Ewoks. I really hope that Funko does start to push out more Ewoks, but there are quite a few now, especially with this 3-pack. And now finally, coming in at number 1 on this list, I have Jabba the Hutt with Salacious B. Crumb. This pop is sweet. I need to get this. I need to display it out of box somewhere in my collection. This is awesome. You have Jabba's throne, the blankets down, you have a couple pillows. Unfortunately, it does have that Star Wars logo across it, which I'm not really huge on, especially when it's something like this. I mean, we know it's Star Wars. You don't have to throw the word Star Wars right in the front of it. And then you have Salacious B. Crumb sitting on one of the pillows. He looks great. Definitely a lot better than the original Jabba that came with the slave Leia. And then you move on, you got Jabba. He looks great. He does have like this weird thing where they kind of changed the way that the Jabba figures looked, where he's a lot more yellow in the face and the stomach, which is actually pretty good because it is is more accurate to the movie, and I believe Hasbro did the same thing where they were producing figures that were mostly green, and then they kind of switched it up where they added these yellow colors. And then he also has the like hookah-esque thing that he kind of like smokes on, and I believe like where it's like the frogs go that he eats, and then he has a glass of whatever he's drinking there. He does have the saliva coming out of his mouth, and his facial expression looks great. And one thing that I love about this Jabba the Hutt is he actually has this scar on his tail. I don't think that that original 3-pack has the scar on the tail, and I don't think that the singular Jabba the Hutt pop has that scar either. But anyways guys, that's all the time I have for you guys today. If you like this video, don't forget to smash the like button. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, and hit that little notification bell to be notified when future content like this video gets released. But anyways guys, I'm out of here. Peace in, peace out.